Earlier today, we collected these plants from the Edisto Research Station in Blackville, South Carolina. This is a Clemson site where we have had a trial of what was intended to be cover crops that were initially intended to be harvested only once in their season. These plots actually ended up being part of a site where animals were grazing, so it had multiple grazings. And what we're looking at right now is we're looking at some of our plot entries, and each yellow sheet has individual entries. There are vetches and there are peas. Just want to take a couple minutes to point out some observations. The first general observation is that all of these plants are really good examples of legumes that can handle grazing, yet not everybody thinks of them as typical grazing plants. We don't really see a lot of people plant winter peas as part of their grazing mix. Same thing, hairy vetch maybe a little bit more. But if you look at these plants, they have a common characteristic is that their growth points are pretty low, which means that they can be grazed quite low and still have the ability to respond with regrowth. We've seen this in other trials where, for instance, sheep can graze these pretty intensely and they recuperate. Now, one thing I want to point out on the peas, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entries, is that 4 of these seem to have a little bit different characteristics than 2 of them. And the first 2 are a white flowering pea called Wyndham, and this pea is it's white flowering. It doesn't have tannins. It's higher in sugar content, higher digestibility, tastes better. It does have a little bit different growth that I think was interesting. Notice that the plants, although they still branch out near the base, they're quite a bit more upright than the other 2. This one here is your Austrian winter pea. Both of these are Austrians. And look at the spreading ability on there. And then this is a new one called YO winter pea. And really nice spreading ability. One reason I wanted to point these out is that, again, just thinking about grazing, thinking about a multi-use cover crop, these can take some pretty intense grazing pretty low. The wildlife audience already knows this because they like peas for browsing. They come up quick and they can get browsed pretty intensely and come back. So the other 2 differences why there's duplicates on them is that one side, the left side of each of these, has been pre-inoculated and coated, and the right has not. I will point out that in this there was so few plants in the overall study because of the way it was planted and the timing that we really didn't get a good group of random selections. So I guess I noted that it seems like there's great nodulation in some of these. You can see really good nodulation in these. Some of the raw as well as the coated have got nodulation as an overall observation, and I can't state this as strongly in this study, but there's some really healthy plants that are on the coated side. That's a coated plant. That's a raw plant. These are coated. That's raw. Some of these look pretty similar in this. Some of them otherwise seem a little more different. Like, for instance, in the wild winter group, at least the plants we pulled here, these 2 look pretty strong over here. I really am impressed with how hefty this taproot is here. One thing on the peas, if you'll notice, they all have good taproot, and then the other smaller roots seem to come off pretty close, and in there, they're not super thick. They're more hair-like. The rest of this group is hairy vetches. I should say common vetch and hairy vetch. Just in scanning over, since we were talking about roots, if you look at those roots, that hairy vetch seem like they have more roots, a larger abundance of roots. And I think that's something to take note of all along these. We're going to point out just a couple differences. This entry here is common vetch. So it's not hairy vetch, it's just common vetch. And in the south, where we're at, it does not get damaged by winter cold temperatures. So this one grew pretty abundantly. One thing, if you'll notice, a lot of that growth is upright. It has a good bit of branching, but that branching doesn't seem to compare to the type of branching that some of the other ones have. This one here is a variety called Winter King, and there's quite a bit of branching on this, and it seems like there's more of an abundant potential to even branch. Whereas this one, the common, seems like it's gonna be more of an upright variety. Like look at this, like this, it's just almost looks like a bush. Example, we only had this. This did not have the coated versus raw. On the Winter King, we had raw on the right and coated on the left. These just look really, really healthy, and look like they're strong plants. These two over here, these are AU Merit. AU Merit is known to be an abundant, early producing hairy vetch. And again, if you just look, and these plants have been, they've been out of the ground for about half a day, so they're drying down. But just look at all that branching activity. To me, it's pretty tremendous. And again, these have been grazed at will. They've not been babied at all. The last entry that I want to show you it's a new entry for Smith Seeds for 2019, and it's a variety called Patagonia Inta. It comes from Argentina, and it was actually bred in the southern part of Argentina. This one looks very impressive here in South Carolina, and it strikes me that just out of the sample plants that we pulled, these look healthier than pretty much a lot of the others. But I'm really impressed with the amount of branching on here and the abundance. Really good roots. Really, I mean, those are just really nice roots. So anyway, that's just a quick 10-minute overview of what we pulled out of the ground today, May 1st in Blackville, South Carolina.